There is no joy in Mudville or LeBron land. Bronny, that's his kid, actually. LeBron, the old man. As the world turns, the Lakers put a beat down on the Knickerbockers. But that's not the story. The story is a boo-boo for Anthony Davis. Who could have possibly anticipated that Anthony Davis would get hurt? It's so unlike him. He's an Iron Man. When you think tough, you think Anthony Davis. Next man up. That's the attitude. Next man up mentality. Is DeMarcus Cousins going to come back and play? He's hurt. He's out for the year, right? He's going to come back and save the day for the Lakers. Well, if you missed it, now there's two things about Anthony Davis that we need to talk about. He left the game in the third quarter last night or tonight, depending on how you look at it. It is the middle of the night, or early in the morning now. So it was last night, Laker-Knicks game, blowout game, third quarter, and a collision between Anthony Davis and former Laker Julius Randle. Ironically, they were united as one there for a little while, but they got together. Now, Anthony Davis left the game. He walked off under his own power. The Lakers owner, general manager, president of basketball operations, Rich Paul, LeBron's toady, and also the agent for it's everyone's in bed with everyone here in Lakerland. But Anthony Davis's agent came over, and it wasn't some PR person. It was Rich Paul himself that said, "There's nothing to see here. Everything is fine," is essentially what he said. It's like that famous scene in one of the great movies of all time from back in the day, Leslie Nielsen and the Naked Gun, the late Leslie Nielsen, when he's standing there and he says, there's he's actually had two lines in movies that are the Naked Gun. He was standing in front of like a building with fireworks going off and all this crazy, and he said, "Move on. There's nothing to see here. Please disperse." And another old movie that has been many years ago, but Airplane. Remember the line Leslie Nielsen had in Airplane? He said, "There's no reason to become alarmed, and we hope you'll enjoy the rest of your flight. By the way, is there anyone on board who knows how to fly a plane?" Solid line. Solid comedy gold in the movies. But so Rich Paul's like, "Oh, there's nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. He'll be fine." He says that out of one side of his mouth. Then it comes out that not only is Anthony Davis injured, he's going to miss the upcoming road trip for the Lakers. So he's out for the roadie. He will not play in those games. But wait, there's more. He's going to have an MRI on his lower back. Inquiring minds would like to know how this is going to go. I'd be surprised if we see him again before February, knowing his injury record. And then you have the future of Anthony Davis. I don't know if you've heard the latest on that. No? Bad job by you. We're going to get to that in a minute. Let's hear from Frank Vogel, though, who tried to help toe the company line here. Well, he's not really the Lakers coach. He's LeBron's assistant, the lead assistant for the Lakers, Frank Vogel, commenting on the injury to Anthony Davis, a tailbone injury.
The initial diagnosis is a bruised tailbone. He's going to go through additional testing tonight, and we'll have an update for you tomorrow. That's all I got.
That's it? I want more. I need more. No? All right. Apparently that's all he's got. So as far as the contract, though, the Lakers offered Anthony Davis a 4-year, $146 million max extension. That happened on Tuesday. It was reported on Tuesday. And the Lakers were handed by Anthony Davis, this is great, a rejection letter hours before he went out and mutilated his tailbone. He turned down $146 million and then immediately got hurt. Immediately, don't even pass go. You have picked up a tailbone injury. Davis is bypassing the in-season extension, and he would like to become an unrestricted free agent in July. Now, there's several schools of thought on this, so I thought we would take a spin and figure out what's really going on. The question How nervous should the Lakers be about Anthony Davis leaving? He just turned down $146 million. I am going to pull out the Maller scale of anxiety. And on the Maller scale of anxiety, 1 to 10, with 10 being you're staring down the barrel of a flamethrower, I'm at an 8. I am at a crazy 8. I know the guys in the other room there, the Laker apologists, don't want to hear that, but I'm at an 8. All right? I've got superficial, deep dish, and collateral damage. And we'll put all these things together. Now, to lead off with, Anthony Davis has been, for the most part, a good soldier. He is saying and doing just about all the right things. Per media reports, he appears to be BFF with LeBron James. They're hanging out together, smoking cigars. They're having Taco Tuesday together. Oh, my God, they're having so much fun. Every day is a trip to Disneyland with these two knuckleheads side by side. And Anthony Davis on the court has been very productive. The team is winning. He seems genuinely happy to play for the Lakers, yada, yada, yada. However, much like the Laker franchise motto, it's all superficial. You have to take this stuff at face value. It is irrelevant. Now, what is my evidence? Example A, Kawhi Leonard and Uncle Dennis. That is example A. Remember, Kawhi was laughing and having a good time, winning in Toronto, and the Raptors, thanks to the Warriors crumbling, won the NBA championship. Kawhi Leonard seemed genuinely happy. He was more popular than the Prime Minister of Canada. They were giving him deals. He was hanging out, making TV commercials, and big deal. Big deal in Toronto and all over Canada. First, you always remember that first championship for the Raptors franchise. And so why would he leave? But Boardman rejected max offers from the Toronto Raptors. He exited stage right in free agency. Now, furthermore, Anthony Davis, he has a similar circumstance around him. Now, the only difference here, and it's a mildly big difference, is that he wanted to play for the Lakers. And this is where he chose to escape from New Orleans. Kawhi didn't pick Toronto. He ended up in Toronto. However, Laker historians ought to be skittish and nervous because while Kawhi Leonard chose to play for his hometown team, it's hip to clip. You know the hometown team for Anthony Davis? The running of the Bulls. That's right, the Chicago Bulls, the unibrow, a native son of Chicago. The Bulls have been a slow-motion train wreck for years. And I feel bad for my friend Chuck Swirsky, the voice of the Chicago Bulls there, who's had to call some terrible Bulls teams over the recent years there.
Never heard
Radio
of him.
voice of the Bulls. You're a schmuck if you don't know who Chuck Swirsky is. He created the nickname Air Canada and Vinsanity when he was the voice of the Toronto Raptors back in the day. Very, very nice man, very talented man, the great Chuck Swirsky. But anyway, I digress. So Chicago, like the Bulls, because they've been so bad, you imagine Davis could just be the perfect tonic, just what the doctor ordered right, walks back into the Windy City. He'd be bigger than deep dish pizza in Chicago if he were to do that as the guy that would fix the Bulls. And his friends from back home in Chicago, if he has any of them left from the second city there, have to be planting the seed in his ear like, hey, come on, man, we need you. You'd be the savior, the messiah of the Chicago Bulls franchise, Anthony Davis. Now, on a positive note for the Laker lapdogs, Rich Paul, who we referenced earlier, the de facto owner of the Lakers and general manager and president, and also Anthony Davis's agent, he is the one who, in theory, is orchestrating the very future of the unibrow. Or as our friend the Palm Desert Rat said, instead of the brow, it's just the ow. I'm going to have to use that. That's a good line. I'm going to steal that. Eventually, I will not give you credit, Palm Desert Rat. I'll just use that as my own. I learned that from Tom Looney, who I used to work with here, because I would say something the first hour of a show. We did the Blitz, and it was like 6 or 7 hours, whatever it was. And so I'd say something kind of witty that worked the first hour, and then 3 hours later, Looney would use the same line. And then he would turn his mic off and laugh at me and point his finger at me like a child. So I will do the same thing with the Palm Desert Rat. I will say, he's not the brow, he's the owl, and then I will just laugh and I will turn my mic off and goof on the Palm Desert Rat. That's what I'm going to do. So, just let you know right now. But Rich Paul, the Rich Paul dynamic is the orchestrator of the future of Anthony Davis. Imagine Paul and LeBron James, I would think, are putting a full court press on Davis, hoping to hypnotize him, to brainwash him with Laker propaganda. Mind control. And we know Anthony Davis, he's a good basketball player, but he doesn't even dress himself. I mean, it's a little embarrassing, right? Remember the whole New Orleans thing? He wore the T-shirt the last game in New Orleans where he didn't even play that said, "That's all, folks." And then when asked about it, said, "I didn't even know. I don't dress myself." It's like his mom puts his clothes. Not even his mom. It's one of his handlers puts the clothes on the bed for him to wear in the morning. Imagine that. I mean, at some point, don't you? I pick out my own clothes. I look great, by the way. Thank you. Thanks for nosing. All right, now, the last thing here. So reports say Anthony Davis, the reason he rejected the Lakers' max offer is to get more money by waiting until the summer. And the way the salaries work, they say, well, you can get $200 million if he waits. He gets $146 million now. It's an extra couple million a year. Not so fast, though. All right, there's a curveball, a backdoor curveball, which, by the way, Los Angeles Dodger hitters do not know how to react to in the postseason, but they're fine during the regular season. But anyway, sorry, I'm having flashbacks. But a reality check, Anthony Davis could actually end up costing himself money. There's two ways this can go sideways and upside down and topsy-turvy for Anthony Davis. And the first way is the salary cap, which has gone up, 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 and away for years. Keeps getting higher every year. Revenues get better. The party bus is about to run out of gas. A longtime NBA employee told me on Christmas night, I was at the Laker-Clipper game, and in the the Chick Hearn press room or whatever the hell it is, and he sat with me, he talked to me, he told me that it is going to be a very ugly offseason in the NBA, and there's going to be a market correction in terms of revenue. Now, why is that? That is collateral damage from the NBA doing the dirty dance with the People's Republic of China. And the fallout from that, we haven't talked about it in a while. The NBA has done a good job of bearing the story. I haven't seen Daryl Morey all year. He's normally does a news conference. He pops up on radio shows. I haven't seen the guy since that whole rhubarb took place, the general manager of the Rockettes. But we are talking about, according to the people who know, hundreds of millions, if not $1 billion plus in revenue that has, presto, vanished from the coffers of the NBA, all because Daryl Morey endorsed Hong Kong, right? Pick the right side, Hong Kong, rather than a oppressive government in China. And so they went with Hong Kong, and that because of that, a lot of NBA business in China dried up. Some of it has come back, I understand, but not all of it. And so essentially the chickens are going to come home to roost when the bean counters look at the books. So that means that the salary numbers are going to go down. Now, they likely will not go down all that much. That's true. But that's a way that Anthony Davis is going to lose a little bit of money. There's also the fact that he's very fragile. Very fragile. We saw he got hurt last night. He's got a bad tailbone. He's got that going for him. And he is much more likely to have a catastrophic injury than he is to make it through the rest of the season healthy. And why am I saying that? What is my evidence? Well, look at his injury chart. It's 4 pages long. I think it's actually 5 pages long. And he hurt his tailbone, like we said last night, 30-point win over the Knicks. Gets an MRI. Today, the results will come out. He's already done for the road trip. I love the Lakers again. They're saying, oh, he's fine. Everything's good. By the way, he's not going to play on the road. And in addition, we're going to have an MRI, which costs thousands of dollars to have an MRI.